Today we're going to learn how to solve a projectile motion problem. Alright, so the problem reads, a snowboarder goes off a ramp 4.8 meters tall and lands 42.4 meters away from the ramp. Determine how long the snowboarder was in the air as well as how fast the snowboarder leaves the ramp. So first, for a projectile motion problem, you want to split it up into two separate components, the vertical component and the horizontal component. So first, I'm going to list out all the information that we have and see what we could find from the problem that we already have. So right away from the problem, we could see the vertical component is 4.8 meters tall, and the horizontal component is 42.4 meters tall, or long. Also, we can determine that the initial velocity for the vertical component is 0 meters per second, and the acceleration for the horizontal component is 0 meters per second squared, because there's no push or pull after the initial one. So there cannot be an acceleration after the fact. Alright, so starting on the vertical side, we use the equation t is equal to the square root of 2x over a to find the time. So we plug in the variables, t is equal to the square root of 2 times 4.8 over 9.8. Which is the acceleration because of the force of gravity, which we did not fill in earlier. This will come out to t equals 0.99 seconds. Now all that's left on this side to find is the final velocity, so we're going to plug back into the equation. A is equal to final velocity minus the initial velocity over time. We're going to times by the time, bring it over to the other side, times the acceleration, and since the initial velocity is 0, that is gone, and you get final velocity is equal to 9.7 meters per second. On the horizontal part, we could use the equation x is equal to initial velocity times time plus the 1/2 of acceleration times time squared. So it's going to be 42.4 is equal to initial velocity times 0.99 plus 1/2 of 0 times 0.99 squared. Since the acceleration is 0 and everything on this side will end up 0, we can cross this off and solve for the initial velocity. So we're going to divide by 0.99, divide by 0.99, and that gives us the initial velocity of 42.84. meters per second. Now, since the acceleration on the horizontal component is 0, the final velocity and initial velocity will be the same. So now that we have all the information, we can answer the question. So the question has to determine how long the snowboarder was in the air as well as how fast the snowboarder leaves the ramp. So the snowboarder was in the air for 0.99 seconds. And we're trying to also determine how fast the snowboarder leaves the ramp. So that's talking about the horizontal component and the initial velocity, which we have. The initial velocity is 42.84.